I've never seen it.
To you
I know
for
that
noticing
men are often, conspired against in the world of comedy. You're not trusted, so not the way women are.
Yeah, men rarely get the benefit of the doubt. Exactly. Is the name of this podcast. Thank you for coming on. That's the alt title is Never Seen It, because no one's seen that happen before. So we'll do the script here, and then we'll talk a little bit, and I have a couple games to play. It's all loose. Do whatever we want to do and anything like that. I didn't even ask you, Jay. So I'm here with Jen Cobra, who has never seen The Goonies.
Yes.
I also have not seen The Goonies.
Oh, good.
Really?
Then I don't feel alone.
No, I haven't. I did it on here like a long, long time ago, and I don't even remember what I wrote. That's how little I know about The Goonies.
That's hilarious.
What, Jay, have you seen The Goonies?
I have, but it's been a long time. It was one of those movies that like I never watched as a kid, and then everybody was like, "Oh my God, you got to watch that movie." And then I watched it as an adult, and I was like, "This is fine." This is the nostalgia factor. I think plays a very heavy part in how well regarded that
love.
movie.
You were just saying that happened to you an hour ago.
Yeah.
Or saying what you were doing on this podcast.
Yeah. I was telling my wife, I'm like, I'm going on this podcast.
Yeah.
She's like, what's the premise? I'm like, well, it's about movies you've never seen. They asked me 3 movies I'd never seen. And she goes, which one did they pick? And I go, The Goonies. And she goes, you've never seen The Goonies? And of course, that's what she said the last time I told her I've never seen The Goonies.
It's so funny.
She loses her mind. And I even have a connection to The Goonies. Apparently, the kid who played the fat one is my lawyer.
Oh,
really?
he's a very, very, very good
Cohen.
Hollywood
He's my lawyer.
This is incredible. We'll have to
Like,
send this his way then.
I'm just saying.
He's going to take 10% of my ad revenue.
We'll never ever speak of it again.
That's one of my favorite Hollywood things is he works and he's one of the Hollywood lawyers everyone has like very wonderful beloved things to say about, and it'll come up every once in a while.
A joy, a delight, the cutest thing in it. And somebody was like, you know who that is, huh? And I'm like, no. Jeff Cohen, that's who that is. A very lovely little Jewish man who's going to make me a lot of money.
Was he in one of the Mighty Ducks movies too, or is that a different child
don't
actor
know.
who became a lawyer?
I
think that there's probably-
I bet there's like some sort of
look.
thing on the computer that could tell us such a thing.
There isn't. Oh, it says here there isn't? No, that's how good of a lawyer he is we can't find this information out.
That tracks. It seems like Mighty Ducks would have been a natural progression
The Goonies
from
to the Mighty
Goonies.
Ducks pipeline.
Goonies, Scooby-Doo.
Somebody said to me, like, oh, you got to ask him to do whatever, some
The
dance.
Truffle Shuffle.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am never going to ask him to do that will never come out of my
Oh, you're
mouth.
not going to ask your lawyer to dance?
To do a shirtless dance.
Oh, is it a shirt?
It's shirtless.
Oh,
He lifts the shirt up in the movie and
I don't see
jiggles
any
around.
Wow.
no Mighty Ducks in here. Honestly, after the Goonies, just a few TV things, Family Ties, Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School, and then kind of got into lawyer.
An interview he did for some, I guess he was promoting the Goonies, but in the interview, he's like Chris Farley, the child. Like he is.
Oh yeah,
he's just like a big kid, and he's talking. He's being really loud and kind of. And I was like, oh my God, this is who.
Yeah.
How did he not play Chris Farley as a child in a movie?
Or even just one SNL sketch. Well, I guess he would have been older by then. But
Look, we gotta go. We gotta. You know how they made Young Sheldon? We gotta make a prequel to Tommy Boy. I'm telling you, this is a great idea.
Or young Matt Foley. Before he's in the van
Matty
down by the river.
Matty Foles sounds like how Pete Holmes would refer to him. Oh, is that Matty Foles? Oh, man. He could do his own contract. I think there's maybe no one I would trust more as a lawyer in Hollywood than a child actor who made it on the other side normal.
For sure.
Yep.
Because this is someone who probably was... You just hear so many horror stories about child actors being exploited by parents.
Oh my God! I just watched the Gary Coleman
documentary.
documentary. It changed my world.
Oof. This is somebody who understands conservatorships in a not horrible and predatory way.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a good person to have on
guy.
your side.
He's a good guy, and he's adorable, and he's very fit and very like. When I saw that's who he was as a child, I was like, "Oh, you get it, you get it. You know what it is to sit in a bathtub and eat an entire box of cheese. You feel me?
Probably for money on camera.
Exactly.
That's just a self-tape.
What do you think the self-tape for Chunk was? Probably not. Didn't make you feel good.
No, I'm gonna guess it didn't. But he was perfect for it, I guess.
Yeah, good for Jeff. And that is such a funny connection to have.
I know,
to the movie you
weird,
haven't seen.
right?
I also haven't.
That's why I probably won't show him this podcast, because I don't think I've told him I've never seen that movie. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe
That
he
might
would
be
like
refreshing
it.
to him.
Yeah, he might be like, oh, thank God, somebody who doesn't.
Someone's not going to ask me to sign the
know
worst merch.
What is it? The Chuckle Shuffle?
The Truffle Shuffle.
Truffle Shuffle.
Yeah,
The
somebody's not going
Chunkle
to be
Shuffle would be so
Chuckle.
great. Oh, Chuckle.
even worse.
Like, do the Chunkle Shuffle, my
Yeah.
lawyer.
Nobody's walking into meetings quoting lines back at him,
No.
and also quoting probably the wrong lines, because I feel like because Sloth and Chunk are the two characters that everybody remembers.
Yet how characters
most
are
from the
named.
Goonies.
See?
I know how to name characters. You name
That was
one
my
sloth and one
favorite part.
chunk.
That was my favorite part of writing the scene, was coming up with names for everybody.
Yeah, what do you bring into this besides being CC'd on emails with one of the stars?
It's just he's just named Jeff.
I
in the
literally, all I can think of when you said Goonies to me is the poster, which was like what looked like a bunch of misfit kids
Yes.
and some sort of cyclops. I don't know what he was. There was some sort of
That's Sloth.
giant.
Yeah. I can't bring any
He
more
looked like
information
the guy
to this.
from Weird Science. At the end of Weird Science, when the motorcycles come in.
See, I've never seen.
I
Weird
always
Science.
thought Sloth in the poster and I don't really know what it looks like, but I associate it with Rudy Giuliani when he was melting at that landscaping company.
Oh,
That's what I picture as like the
Hair dye is
visual.
coming
hair
out.
dye.
You
I'm
are
like,
not wrong.
This is
A little
Sloth.
bit, yeah.
Because Sloth, once again, was Chunk's lawyer, if you talk about Rudy Giuliani. Let's do anything else, and then I want to talk about the other stuff you haven't seen, but let's do the script here. You can cast it. You said you had voices, so if you want to play...
when I got the email about this show, they said, hey, you're going to have to read this script you wrote. And I thought, well, I wrote a whole bunch of people into it. It's about a little gang of children. So
Right.
I was working on different voices, but you know.
You can do as many of them as you'd like to,
It's-
and I can do as few of them. We'll have you do the stage directions. Jay is
right.
here to facilitate and fill in anything you'd like as well, but
Yes.
really, if you want to roll them all, I'm also here for that.
I mean, I think Jackson could play. You could play Jackson.
Okay,
Jay could
I'll play Jackson.
And then you could be Tommy,
Okay.
who is, I guess, the chunkish sort of character.
He's
Oh,
a
and
chunkish type.
You know that was a horrible, like, after this came out, people were like, without just saying we want a kid who looks like, they're like, we're looking for a chunk type.
Yes,
Yeah.
Chunk. That was my nickname in high school. And then I'll keep being Lucy, and you keep being Jackson, and you can switch over to Grandpa Walter
Great.
if you want to.
I like it.
And then
Grandpa Walter.
Billy, I'm gonna guess you could jump into Billy.
Okay.
Okay.
And now look, Billy and Tommy have an interface, so I don't want you to explode or anything.
I will cry.
Okay.
You're going
exactly
to
what
realize
I
how
wanted.
little voices I do when it's two boys, and you cannot tell them apart.
Well, look, that's how I feel about
One
boys.
of them is probably going to be Italian.
That's how I feel about boys. They all look the same.
There are a lot of Italians in the real Goonies. I will
Really?
say that. They play very heavily. So
Okay.
you can do an Italian voice, and I think you're going to be.
Is
you're
this
gonna
why
be
in the
fan
movie I feel like they
service.
jump down a green tube?
A lot of jumping on the heads of
and there
turtles
are
and mushroom people.
There are two silent characters, like there were in every '80s movie. Just two kids that were there to like look menacing, but they don't really
Fill
say
in the
anything.
poster a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Great. So whenever you're ready.
All right. It's a sweltering summer day in the small coastal town of Clearwater. Isn't that a
It feels
Clearwater.
perfect.
The sun hangs high. I didn't even know what that meant. Casting golden rays that shimmer on the calm waters of the bay. Clearwater's clearly a bay.
This is so writerly. I love it.
It makes me so happy. The town is quiet, too quiet for the restless gang of misfit kids who've dubbed themselves the Goonies. Exterior, old dock, daytime. Jackson, 13, lanky with a shot of platinum blonde hair, leans on the edge of the dock, skipping rocks. I mean, there's nothing more
No, this is Clearwater.
For-
This is
foreboding.
very Clearwater.
He's the leader, or so he likes to think. Beside him is Lucy, 12, fearlessly independent with a mop of stringy red hair. I remember that from the poster. That bitch had stringy red hair.
Yes, she did.
Is fidgeting with a rusty lock on an abandoned boathouse door.
Another boring day in Clearwater. No treasure, no pirates, no adventures, just heat.
Maybe if you didn't spend all day whining, we'd have found something by now.
Hey, it's not like treasure just drops out of the sky, Lucy.
Suddenly, Tommy, 11, small, stout, anxious but smart, comes running down the dock. I'm going to guess there's a lot of panting after the running. His round glasses askew. His backpack bounces wildly as he skids to a stop in front of them.
Guys, you gotta see this.
I'm trying to raise my eyebrow as audibly as I can. This better not be like last time, Tommy. If this is about that haunted soda machine again, I'm out.
I'm out was a very popular phrase in the 80s.
No, this is real. It's at my grandpa's place. An old map. He says it leads to something buried out there. Something big.
Lucy finally looks up from the lock, intrigued. A map? What kind of map?
The kind with a X on it.
Because that's all there ever was. If you saw Romancing the Stone, right? All these, there was a map with an X.
Always.
Okay. Jackson and Lucy exchange glances. X marked treasure. This could be it. Their big adventure.
All right, Tommy, you've got our attention. Let's go check it out.
Cut to interior Tommy's grandpa's basement later. The basement is dark, cluttered with old antiques and strange artifacts from a life spent at sea.
This is back when you could spend a life
so
at sea.
Stoned when I wrote this.
I hope so.
The air smells of mildew and dust. Tommy leads the group down the creaky steps. A lantern flickers on a wooden table where a faded parchment map lies spread out. Grandpa Walter, 80, grizzled old sailor.
I'm big beard, tattered hat.
I'm only picturing
So
the
good.
grandpa from Rugrats.
Sits by the map, puffing on a weathered pipe.
Tommy tells me you kids like adventure. Well, here's your shot.
Dialogue is so broad.
It does. I get the vibe from the Goonies. There might not have been a single proper noun in it.
Yeah, that's probably
Time to go to the
so.
old yard and do the stick ball.
Jackson and Lucy gather around the table, their eyes wide as they stare at the map. It's hand-drawn, old, with jagged lines representing the coastline, dense forests, and most importantly, an X far out in the wild.
What's buried there, Grandpa Walter?
Grandpa Walter takes a long puff on his pipe. I'm going to imagine that's what I was doing at this point of the writing, too.
I didn't know that'd make a noise when I inhaled.
He takes a long puff on his pipe, his eyes twinkling with mischief.
Legend says it's the lost treasure of Captain Blackwater.
See, there's Clearwater and there's Blackwater. That's how you know who the bad guy is.
yeah.
They're black.
Stole from the king's ship centuries ago, hidden somewhere in the Clearwater woods.
I told you, real treasure.
You're not pulling our leg, are you?
You think I'd waste my time making up stories? No old person's ever done anything like that. There's truth to this map. But be warned, those woods hold more than just gold. You'll need courage to see it through.
See, they always got to give you what you need. It's like the Wizard of Oz. What are you going to need for this one? Courage. All right. Jackson stares at the map, excitement bubbling up in him. He slaps the table.
All right, Goonies, we've got ourselves an adventure. Let's find that treasure.
Stick to the map!
I'm picturing like Dumbledore when he's like, "Did you put your name in the goblet, Harry?"
There's a real fast zoom. There's a dolly right into his face.
Like what's that Sam Raimi horror movie?
Yeah,
where they
it's
have,
like at a Dutch angle a little bit. It's a little canted.
Stick to the map. Stay together, and whatever you do, don't go near Skull Rock.
There has to be one of those. We
There
have
has
to
to
be
be.
told what we can't touch. This is Adam and Eve shit, guys. That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
The kids freeze. Skull Rock. That sounded ominous. I can't believe I knew that word.
Sounds like a challenge.
I mean it, boy. Stay clear of it.
Cut to exterior Clearwater Woods. Afternoon. The group hikes through the dense forest, the trees towering above them like ancient guardians. Sunlight filters through the leaves, casting a greenish hue on the ground below. Jackson leads the way, the map in hand, while Tommy navigates with a compass, and Lucy follows close behind, her eyes alert for any sign of danger.
We're getting closer to the first marker. A big boulder shaped like a turtle.
I don't see any turtle rocks.
Suddenly, a loud crack echoes through the woods. The kids freeze. Out of the bushes tumbles Billy, 14, the town bully, followed by his lackeys, Chuck and Moose.
Oh, well,
That's
well,
my favorite part
well.
of it.
Oh, what do we have here? A little treasure hunt?
What do you want, Billy?
I want the inn. You're not the only ones who want a piece of that treasure.
Great. Now we have to babysit. Lucy has the best lines. Billy swaggers up, grabs the map from Jackson's hands, and squints at it.
Oh, this map's a joke. Everyone who knows there's no treasure in these woods, you're wasting your time. It's real. My grandpa said so. Older man Walter's losing his marbles. But if you're so sure, I'll tag along just to watch you fail.
Jackson grabs the map back, narrowing his eyes.
Fine, but don't get in our way.
You're so heroic. The group trudges on, and the deeper they go, the more the forest begins to change. The trees seem older, the air cooler, and the ground uneven beneath their feet. A few hours pass, and when they begin to lose hope, Tommy spots something in the distance.
There! The turtle-shaped rock!
Sure enough, a massive boulder sits in a clearing, its shape oddly resembling a turtle with a long, curved neck. Well, I'll be! I'm so Southern. The map was right!
Tarnation! Told you this was the real deal. Now we head north from here, 2 miles.
They set off, but the deeper they go, the more eerie the woods become. Strange sounds echo between the trees, and shadows seem to move in the corner of their eyes. Soon, they arrive at a fork in the path.
This doesn't make sense. There's only one path on the map, but there's two here.
One path is dark, shrouded in thick, gnarled trees. The other more open, bathed in sunlight.
I wonder which one. What do we do?
Billy steps forward, a sneer on his face.
Oh, we're taking the open path. Duh. Why do we go down to the creepy one?
Duh, also very big in all 80s movies. But the map says nothing about a second path. What if we're supposed to go that way? The group hesitates. Jackson peers down the dark path and feels a strange pull in his gut.
I think Lucy's right. We stick to what the map says.
Billy rolls his eyes.
Of course, you're the big of the spooky one. You're all too chicken to take the easy way. Fine, I'll go the open way. And when I'm rich and you're lost, don't come crying to me.
Without waiting, Billy storms off down the sunny path. Moose and Chuck follow behind.
And Chuck.
Jackson watches them go before turning to his friends.
We're sticking together. Let's go.
The Goonies march down the dark path, hearts pounding, but none of them willing to turn back. The trees close in around them, the air turning colder, and in the distance, the faint outline of something massive rises up. a rocky outcrop shaped like a skull. That must be Skull Rock. The ground trembles beneath their feet as they approach the base of the rock. Jackson holds his breath, clutching the map tighter.
We're close. Real close. We just have to keep going.
Suddenly, a loud crack splits the air as the ground opens up beneath them, leaving the group tumbling into darkness. I mean, that's a cliffhanger, guys. That's
An outcrop hanger, practically.
A cliff faller.
What the hell is an outcrop?
I think that's probably close. Jay?
Pretty close.
I mean,
Honestly, pretty close.
is that what happens? It's
There's definitely...
Was there a map with an X? I feel like there's a map.
There's a map with an X. There
Okay.
is. I'm pretty sure there is something called
It's a treasure
Skull
hunt
Rock.
movie?
It is a treasure hunt movie. And there's definitely falling through the ground in places where you're not supposed to fall through the ground.
I'm absolutely
See?
in love with just two silent kids. Because you are like, are there two kids in this movie they didn't want to give SAG cards to in every single late 80s, early 90s sort
I've
of
been
like buddy
watching
movie?
Yellow Jackets. I'm like, how is there a season 2 with new actors? Aren't we stranded from a plane?
That is
If
what
these
They had
bitches
some
weren't
kids
here
who've been
last
hiding in
season,
the overhead
where have
bins.
they been? Where have they been? But you're just supposed to believe that there were other girls on the plane that you didn't follow.
Oh yeah, they were
and
just
now
you
here
got. They didn't
are.
look over there.
Annoying. But
You didn't know they did. I only saw the pilot to Yellow
are
Jackets.
there bad guys in the Goonies though? Like,
Not within...
Are the bad guys a corporation?
So the bad guys are...
Like a company?
They're a group of adults,
Yes.
right, who are Italian. I forget their... It's like the Fratellis or something like that.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And they are also hunting the treasure.
Oh, it's like National Treasure where there's the bigger, more, or Twister.
See, I went a little
Yeah.
Encyclopedia Brown on this one. Did you guys ever read Encyclopedia
I know
Brown?
Encyclopedia
Oh yeah, I
Brown.
love turning.
So-
I love turning
so
books upside
Bugs
down to find the
Meany
real answer. Yeah,
was the bully and was always like showing up with his two lackeys. He always had two kids with
Yeah.
him, and they were always they were those kids that would always just go, yeah, tell him,
And the bully would be rich.
yeah.
And then you would find out the bully's dad was a bad dad. Like, you know what I mean? A little ways in, they'd
whole
try and have
thing.
you simple.
Right.
The bully's dad was like an insurrectionist or something. I'm going off Bob's Burgers now. It's specifically a Bob's Burgers reference.
Hilarious.
But it would just be something, you know, they would make you like the bully a little bit. Nelson in The Simpsons, Freaks
Yeah.
and Geeks. Like, you know
Right,
what I mean?
right,
The bully
right.
behavior, you were
Yeah,
like,
you-
and now very obviously you're like, well, yeah, I don't think kids are born bullies. I think
No,
that-
absolutely
But
not.
it would always be the kid who was a little bigger, and his dad was always like a non-present rich dad.
Yeah.
And then that would be like his flaw.
So that was the only way he got attention was by. That's what.
like I bet this kid really just wanted to be friends with him.
Yeah.
so.
I mean, that's what I loved about 80s movies. Like this dialogue, you could read and play these characters anyway. There's nothing in the
Yeah.
dialogue that really tells you.
Right, there could have
who
been
they
more
are.
Italian kids.
It's-
it's a good blank slate. For,
yeah,
for the
it's that's what
children.
it's like Brecht in
Yeah.
that way. It's But I mean, it's just, you know, these lines that they have, you know, well, duh. I mean, duh was said in every movie I ever saw.
Oh, duh!
as
A
child.
lot of vernacular was like popularized by it all. You know, if this movie came out 4 years later, that could have been a Dodoy.
For
Yes,
sure.
and just the stating of the obvious, like they come across this giant rock shaped like a skull, and the girl whispers, "That must be Skull Rock." Of course
Oh,
it is,
yeah,
you dumb
right.
whore.
Yeah.
We know what it is.
It's like Sandlot when there's the giant dog the neighbor has, and they're like, "That's the Beast," and we're like, "Yeah, no, we know.
we got it.
If you hit it over there, you'll see Beast," and then they hit over there and go, "Oh, that's Beast," and like, "Yeah." No, we
man.
remember from a minute ago.
Time to raise the giant puppet monster arm that we built specifically for this movie.
Wait till we find out why it's called Sandlot.
I do love. I don't remember if in the actual Goonies there is a sort of like mystical grandpa character, but spiritually, I feel like there is because the grandpa Walter in here just feels right. It feels right to have somebody who like might be pulling the legs of these children, or actually knows where the buried treasure is.
Also, I feel like the very next scene, what would happen as they're falling is they would all, like, sort of get like like either the big giant guy would come and save them, like scoop them all, or be at the bottom and like be catching them.
Sort
or
of like
something.
Sloth, who they are afraid of, is a good guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually what happens in the movie, but Sloth sounds like they would be afraid of his face.
Nailed it.
He's got to turn out to be.
Turns
good.
out he's actually
Sloth
a good
is a good
guy.
guy, yeah.
But
Sloth is misunderstood.
But he has a weird face, so how is he good?
So they're scared. It's very Boo Radley. It's
Yes.
very Boo Radley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many devices going on in the script. I didn't realize I had retained this much from the reading I've done in my life, but clearly, after this masterpiece,
I can't fathom how incorrect mine was. Now I can't even remember. This is a genre of movie I missed. You know what we should do before we get to? We should take a quick break. I always forget to do these. Let's do that. Okay, we're back. Talking about the Goonies. Talking about this era of movie I missed all of them growing up. Stand By Me, I think I thought was the same movie.
Oh my God, Stand By Me was so
I've never seen
good.
Stand By Me.
I didn't
was in the
see
same sort of
What?
base, yeah.
Oh, it's
Is
so
Stand By
good.
Me? Well, now we don't have anyone who's seen both of them, but it feels like a more serious version of this to me.
Stand
I don't
by
know how else
Me.
to describe
Yes,
it.
it is it's a
so.
buddy movie, but there's less. What's happening in Stand By Me is all real. The only like makeup parts of it are where they sit and tell each other stories, and you sort of see those get acted out in the movie. But those have nothing to do with the core story, which is they are going to find. They've heard there's a dead body down by the tracks, and they're going to go find the dead body.
There's always the tracks.
And Stand By Me was written by Stephen King.
I was about to say it felt like the Goonies was StephenKing, but it is actually
It
literally
is.
Stephen King.
He's, well, the Goonies is like a sillier
is it
version
Disney?
of it, right?
The Goonies is, I believe, I think
There's
it's
no way to find
Spielberg.
this out.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's Spielberg wrote it, but I know it's Spielberg produced. Because I remember, like, the only movie of this sort of, like, kids hanging out, going on an adventure era. Because there's the delineation, right, between, like, the Sandlot, where it's just, like, a bunch of kids hanging out,
Yeah.
playing baseball all summer. And then there's kids.
This is Treasure Island.
Yeah, there's kids going on an adventure, which E.T. is the only one of those movies that I
Yeah.
saw as a kid.
Yeah.
And this has sort of, the Goonies had sort of like the E.T. like fantastical
had a
thing.
feel
This is
to
a
it.
Spielberg production. Also, Chris Columbus wrote the screenplay. The guy who did the director,
Chris
like Home Alone and
Columbus.
stuff.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
he knows big kids running around energy. And I didn't even know Sean Astin was in this. Josh Brolin is a kid in this.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, he was the bad guy, right? Wasn't he the?
Sean Astin?
No.
Oh
Sean
no, Josh
Astin
Brolin.
couldn't be
Sean
bad.
Astin was a good guy.
Sean Astin is a circle. He was a little circle with legs.
What a wonderful person. I don't know him at all, but I'm like, everything Sean Astin has ever done, I love that he's just helped the main character through 17 movies.
Yeah.
I mean, he just
And a
seems-
couple TV shows.
He's a really good, he's so good in like Stranger Things, but he's also
Yeah.
like very good. I love him as Sam in Lord of the Rings. I'm just like, what a great career.
Yeah.
This guy can go to different conventions and be bothered by odd nerds forever.
It's a living.
But when did this come out? 1985. I thought it was even later than that. I missed a lot of like Hook is this movie
Never
and
seen
Hook and
Hook
Princess
either, yeah.
Bride and Stand By Me. I would get a lot of crap for
I
not
never
seeing.
saw Hook.
I still have not.
I did my senior year. I was a speech and debate kid in high school, and
I was too.
Yeah, so was I.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Colleyville Heritage High School in Texas.
Texas?
All
yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
I was going to
What about
pretend
you?
to know what College
I went
Heritage
to a
was.
school in Louisiana. You would have never heard of me, but
Where in Louisiana?
I won nationals. Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Oh, okay. I know Lake Charles.
Yeah.
I got family. I was born in New Orleans. I got a lot of family.
Oh, there you
in
go. Yeah,
Louisiana.
yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
See?
great.
You got good Southern lips.
Oh, thank you.
They're full and juicy.
Here I'm looking at the movies that are more like the Goonies and seeing how few of them I haven't seen The Neverending Story. I haven't seen
Neverending
E.T.
Story.
Seen
either.
either of that. Yeah.
You haven't seen E.T.?
I have not seen The
Come
Karate
on,
Kid.
man.
My senior year, somebody made.
Hook.
I did a speech, and I was doing original oratory was my event. They made me. I had a reference to Hook in it, but I'd never seen Hook, and so and my coach was like, "You gotta watch."
like the
Hook."
precursor of this
And I just
podcast.
Never watched. Yeah.
You're just like inserting it into.
And I think that's why I didn't win nationals, because I knew it was
There
false.
you go.
You
Can
called
go
him.
through.
You're probably much younger than I am.
Robert
as well.
Williams.
God bless you.
Robert Williams.
I was speech and debate. I went to nationals, and that was in 2006.
Yeah, that you're much younger than me.
Yeah.
I tried my national qualifiers my senior year. I felt really good about it, but I was doing original oratory was my event, right? And they had in my final round. I don't remember one of the people who beat me, but the other one who beat me was a girl who did a speech that was basically like the most aggressive pro-vegetarian speech that you could ever imagine hearing from like a 15 or 16-year-old girl.
Was it called Meet the Parents?
Meet the Parents. And she won because I think in Texas, somebody who's like, you can't eat meat that's really like, you're going to get a standing ovation for sticking to your guns on that one.
Oh, yeah, because in Texas, they eat meat with a side of meat.
Oh, yeah.
That's how they
Brisket
do it.
with a side of sausage. That's my usual
Yeah,
go-to order.
Churchill was a big school in Texas,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, Winston Churchill. Yeah, they were still competing. They're heavy.
Yeah, and...
So funny.
Yeah.
It's impossible to explain. I did like humorous, like HI.
I did
It's
too.
just
That's
really
what I
hard.
learned.
I waited till my senior year to do it. I thought I was a dramatic guy until my senior year when I did duo and then did an HI to see.
I was
do
in
something
national
else.
finals my senior year of oratory and of humorous.
Whoa.
And I had no voice at the end.
I
Oh,
can
for
imagine.
sure.
No
For
voice
it's
at
crazy
the
to explain to people who have no idea what you're talking about, which is
I
like
know.
performing a piece with multiple characters alone and interpretation
It's
of a
why
long
when
thing
I
down
started,
to 10 minutes.
when I started doing stand-up, I was like doing other people's stand-up. I was doing like Thea Vidal. She's like a 400-pound black woman.
Yeah.
And I'm doing her act in clubs. And people are like, what are you doing? You're saying you're a black woman. Like, you don't have children. What is happening? And I'm like, isn't this what it is? I thought that's what it was.
I mean, that's how I found out about like
And
David
then-
Sedaris and
then-
things like that.
yeah,
Like
and
a
then
lot of
somebody was
literary
like,
references.
you have to write your own. Stand-up is a writer's medium. And I was like, oh.
I actually
well,
got
nobody
yelled at
explained
for
to
doing
me.
that in high school. If you
Really?
wrote anything that was,
Oh,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? I would.
You
Well,
can't-
Oh, yeah,
I
'cause
would
you
never
can't do that.
memorize.
That's your
I
oratory,
BS'd
yeah.
it the entire time. I wouldn't memorize. I would goof around, and I think eventually at nationals, people were like, "We know what you're trying to do, and you're making it up."
And where did you go to high school?
Blue Springs in Missouri.
Oh, yeah. Missouri had a very strong program.
It's a big. It was a big school for that sort of thing. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you because it was called forensics.
Forensics,
But if you
yeah.
tell people that, it's like CSI,
Right.
And so it's an impossible thing to describe to people who have no. You're like, no, forensics, where you would perform alone all the time, and mostly it would be kids flirting in the back of
Yeah.
the bus on weekends.
Our official class title for it was oral interpretation, and we were trying to convince our teacher to let us make shirts that just said oral in big letters on the front and then interp in very small
It's
letters.
funny that you like think they won't know what that is. Like, we could
We're like,
slide
we
this
could
by our
get this
teacher.
on
They were
class
never
letter.
younger. They never were young. You see all the time. I just saw a video online of a kid trying to pretend he didn't get his report card.
Oh, God.
And you know when you're a kid, you think you're tricking your parents, and then you grow up and you're just like, oh yeah, they were this age I am now, and
Yeah.
I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I am a little bit, but you know, his mom was like, "Where's your report card?" And he's like, And it sort of like opens his backpack and like pulls out a folder, and she's like, "I know what's in there." He's like, and she just like pulls it right out. He's like, "Oh, there's where I put it." It's like it's just trying to fool old people when you're a kid is such a fun energy to have because they know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Though you can get them back at Halloween. Have you seen those videos where they tell the kid that they ate all their candy? the
Oh
next day?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah.
Though I laugh so hard on November 1st every year. I don't.
At this
It
point,
doesn't get old.
what are
There's
kids?
nothing funnier.
It's like the only online thing parents are ahead of kids on is figuring out that prank.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because it's like a Jimmy Kimmel started and kids are just don't even know what late night television is
Yeah.
anmore. I would
It's-
like, yeah.
Every 100% of the children cry. I mean, none of them didn't cry, but this one little girl, she's just they're explaining to her like, we just ate all your candy, and she can't be older than 4, and she just. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You probably needed it. You probably she starts trying to convince
Just the
herself.
youngest social worker
I
you've
was
ever
like,
seen in your life. This is a great little kid.
Yes, this is so
I know.
genius, and that's the kind of nobody did that to us in the 80s.
No.
No.
I mean,
My parents ate all of my razor blades.
I was gonna say we didn't. We had my father had us go get our candy X-rayed at the hospital for razor blades.
Wow.
Did that ever actually? That seems like
I
one of
don't
those.
think it ever
Well, now
happened.
it's everything is a drug.
We did have people. I mean, we had
That's
people giving
why
out like
candy.
toothbrushes and stuff in my neighborhood.
We had a
Really?
toothbrush guy.
yeah, we had
dentist.
a toothbrush guy. We had a dentist. We had an Apple person.
My mom would make
Oh, there better be
popcorn
some
balls.
caramel
They
on
were
that.
like
Oh.
candied orange
So
candy.
good.
They're
Nice.
And it was one of the saddest realizations she had was that people quit taking them because they're homemade. It's like a combination of this where older people always say kids won't go outside, kids don't want to play, and then they'll also say everything outside is dangerous and don't eat any candy or
Right.
you know what I mean, and only eat prepackaged.
Look, even
You're
today,
like,
you
it's-
poured me this glass of water, and I'm like, I don't know this guy. I ain't drinking
Haven't
this
drank
water.
out of it,
What,
taking more
what,
than a
what could
sip.
be in that water?
But it's from that
What
blue
is-
thing over there.
No, I believe you. Look, it all just in my head.
No,
Like,
it is.
That's the kind of crap that is
Yeah.
taking up space in
Yeah.
my head. And in the 80s, if you'll remember, which is what amazes me that all these kid movies even got made, is because there was all this focus on you're going to be kidnapped.
Oh yeah.
All
yeah.
this find kids. They were in the malls. They were fingerprinting kids so that if you ever did go missing, they could find you. All kinds of
Yeah.
stuff. And it's because, and so these kind of movies where kids are just like on the street, like
Just
E.T.,
on their bike
I was
16
literally
hours a
like,
day.
whose mom is letting them ride their bike over the moon?
Yeah.
What's happening right now? My mom was like, it's dark. Get home.
Yeah.
Like,
Is
what?
the Moon's parents going to be there?
I know,
Can you give me
like,
the Moon's phone number so we can call and check in on you when you're
It's
over
gonna
it?
be bad.
It is. That was this. Yeah, I just remember my mom. Now she makes them just for people she knows. Again, I think it's coming around a little bit.
That's
but,
good. That's nice. Yeah, this was like it really feels like I remember when I was a kid. I grew up in the 90s.
I was born in 88.
Yeah, I was born in 90. In my neighborhood, there were
God, I
some
hate you,
kids.
I'm sitting here praying against you.
That's very southern of you. That's very.
That's what we do.
You're blessing his
You're
heart,
blessing
if
my
you will.
heart all deep in your head.
Amen.
But there was there was a little bit of that in my neighborhood of the kids who were like, we would go hang out and you go like, there's a cul-de-sac who like, the
Yeah.
parents and who lived in the house at the end of the cul-de-sac would like have a Halloween party that's like, there's a block, kids come down the block, hang out, have
Like
pizza.
a safe spot.
Yeah, but then pretty much all the kids in the neighborhood were like around the same age. And so we all started getting like hormonal and angry and all this shit at the same time. So there was like a fight that broke out between.
There's not like a new
Kids.
generation of like 6-year-olds. Everyone's like 12.
No, exactly. Yeah, it's all It's all like people who moved to the city or to the suburbs at the same time.
Yeah.
With their kids who are the same age, trying to get into the same schools, and then as soon as everybody starts fighting with each other, and then it's like, oh well, all bets are off. We're done.
Yeah.
Nobody's hanging out.
It is. Yeah, I wonder if a lot of these are like. These are.
Your generation is a bunch of little shits. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You're bad people.
Yeah, we don't want to work anymore.
You don't do anything. It's because you've had a phone in your hand your whole life.
Like I wanted to go outside and hang out, but then there was like a kid in my neighborhood who was actually like a really bad. Like there was a kid in my neighborhood who started like making pipe bombs, and there was a neighbor of mine who his family moved out of the house and he started making meth.
These are the
in
times we
garage.
long to go back to.
Then this is like
Right, I'd
the
kill
early
for that now.
2000s.
That would be so
what
great.
a time! I would love to have
You're
been
saying
outside
there's
during all this.
Imagine having a home so to yourself you could turn it into a meth lab. If you tell me a meth lab blew up, I'm like, you're telling me they didn't share any walls with any neighbors?
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know what?
That's
my
why it's all
my
happening in
takeaway-
trailers.
I know that's where I'm from.
That tracks. That really does track.
Oh yeah, it does. It well, what they do is they'll be like, a mobile home blew up in this complex and we're investigating. It could have been propane, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to tell us, but okay.
Good luck with that.
Right.
We saw someone buying 6 tubs at Home Depot. Breaking Bad accelerated everyone's intelligence process of what they thought was going
God,
on.
that was such a great show. Huh?
It was great.
So great.
That's what happens when you let the children out.
They all become Jesse
when I-
Pinkman.
Become Jesse Pinkman. Yeah.
When I was a kid, there was there wasn't even a copy machine. You had to like crank a thing.
Oh, there was all like
it was all ditto
yeah.
paper.
the ditto paper.
Ditto
yeah,
paper,
yeah.
and you could smell that
Gutenberg,
good.
I think, made that.
Yeah, you smell that good ink. You get high on that good ink. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So good.
We were really late to the computer. I do remember that. My parents still don't. I mean, they have one, but
There's
they
a lot
don't
of
like it
Oregon
about it or
Trail
whatever.
happening.
Oh, I played a lot
I
of
would-
Oregon
at
Trail.
school.
Math Munchers. Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that Math Munchers sounds like a.
Sounds like a game for lesbians.
Yeah, you change
Math
that A to
Munchers,
an
and then,
E, and you've
the
got what I
18
got
plus
growing
version
up.
Muff Munchers. You can download
That's the
that if you get to the
You
right
didn't have
thing.
the Missouri version, Meth Munchers.
It's very close.
Okay, we got to do one more break, and we got a couple games to play.
Maybe that much.
I like these sort of these towns, and these are like the picturesque towns that I think exist now in never actually existed. I mean, they
No.
did to some point, but these are sort
Yeah.
of like romanticized. They exist now in the true crime things where a murder will happen. They'll be like,
yeah.
that stuff never happens around here.
Yeah.
It rocked Clearwater when and you're like, but it happened everywhere.
There was
Every small town has been rocked by a murder.
I mean, I remember that happening when I was in high school. There was, so I grew up in right next to Grapevine, Texas.
Oh, I know. I'm
that's
familiar with
the
Grapevine.
mall.
That's actually where
Grapevine Mills.
Nationals was.
Yeah.
Where when I went to Nationals was in Grapevine.
There you
I
go.
worked that tournament.
Ooh.
We might have passed each other in the hallway.
You could have seen
somewhere.
me about to go make something up and
I
have
could've.
people find out.
Cute.
But there was.
I was judging.
Yeah.
That's, for a long time.
Oh, there you go.
Too long.
It's a good. I mean, that seems like a pretty good racket if you're.
Oh yeah, you
To
could.
just to hang
I
out,
have
go
a lot
judge.
of great stories because to nationals they would always bring famous people. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of people that I met judging nationals with them who were like actually famous, and then I'd meet them and they'd be like, "Eugena's a 5-time national champion." I'd be like, "Yeah, okay. Can we talk about Days of Our Lives? You're on Days of Our Lives. Tell me about Days of Our
Wait,
Lives."
was it John
Like,
Lopriano? Okay.
It was Deidre Hall.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Marlena Evans.
But Grapevine, I think it was my junior year of high school. There was a Christmas murder, yeah, and the dad dressed up
Those are
as
some
Santa
of the worst
Claus
murders.
And killed
the family with an axe, and then I think it was a murder suicide.
Oh, please! You have to kill yourself after that.
Of course, and it was the apartment complex that was like a couple blocks over from our high school.
Oh, wow.
And everyone was mad it happened.
Yeah,
Yeah. You have to check
'cause
the tone of these
in
things.
Texas, they like it when you shoot people. Once you start using knives and axes,
You know,
they
you
get
can't.
upset.
Now he's
They're
called
like,
the
look.
holiday killer. He
Yeah.
used to be the Christmas killer. You can't say
Exactly.
Christmas anymore.
It
Starbucks
just-
is calling him the holiday murderer. They got him killing his family next to a menorah on my
out
cup.
here drinking those peppermint mochas with oat milk. Doesn't give him the energy to do it.
My dad was Santa Claus for Halloween one time, but he wore a mask of Pennywise from It.
Oh, God.
And he would drive us around. We'd walk around I grew up like around a lake, and he would drive us around the neighborhood. And kids ran up to him because he was dressed as Santa, and then he turned around and he goes, "I'm not Santa," and he had the clown mask on, and he thought this was so
my
funny. And my mom was like, "I
God.
think you're ruining lives."
That is so funny though.
There are children in this
He just
neighborhood
would
that
throw-
cannot afford therapy.
No,
Earl.
oh no. Well, first off, that's illegal in Missouri. I think still in Missouri that's on the ballot to become legal this year, but they're not letting you vote. Okay, couple of games we're going to play, and then we're going to get out of here. This first game we're going to play is called Before and Afters, and how it works is two movies have been smashed together into one. I will read you the smashed together plot. You have to tell me the smashed together title. So, for instance, Heathers. That's not a good example. The Wolf of Wall Street, like I said.
Oh, that's fun.
Argo would be Argo and Fargo put together. Saving Private Silverman. We have Saving Private Ryan, Saving Silverman put together. What did we do? The Goonies. I can't think of any for that. The Goonies would be The Goon and The Goonies put together.
The Goon is a movie?
Goon is we just
Oh,
saw this
Goon, the
yesterday.
hockey movie.
The hockey movie
right,
with Sean William Scott.
Right.
You know,
All right.
I'll read the plot. You're more than welcome to work together, or you can compete against one another.
I'm a work together kind of gal.
Let's work together.
Let's work together.
Everyone says that until one of them gets one on their own. Number one, a girl is swept away from her family farm by a tornado that lands her on a colorful beach, being terrorized by a giant shark.
Well, it's The Wizard of Jaws.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that was really good.
1 point each.
Thank you.
since
I was
you're
on.
working
I was.
together.
I was on Twister going.
The Twister of Oz. A widower moves his family onto a wildlife park, but it is so large, he spends the whole day trying to remember where he parked his car.
Okay.
This one's a horrible
Wildlife
mix.
Park. So this is like I'm thinking We Bought a Zoo, but I can't think of the last one. Dude,
Wait, what part of it are we trying to figure out?
we're trying to figure out what a combo is. Dude,
A widower moves his family onto a wildlife park, but it's so large he spends the whole day trying to remember where he parked.
We Bought a Zoo plus Dude. It's like We Bought a Zoo plus
And
Dude,
Dude,
Where's My
Where's My
Car?
Car?
But I don't.
So it's.
Dude, we
Dude,
bought
where's my Dude, where's my Jurassic Park? Dude, where's the zoo we bought?
Dude, where's the zoo we bought? Dude, where's the zoo we bought?
We're looking for We Bought a Zoo, Where's My Car?
Oh, we were right there.
Yes.
That's the we have.
I'm trying to get really good at this horn. Next one. An ogre leaves the solitude of his swamp to help lead a group of beings with genetic mutations that give them powers.
I mean, yeah, I got that one. Shrek's Men.
Oh, Shrek's Men?
Yeah.
What's the men from? Oh,
X-Men.
X-Men. There you
Shrek's
go.
Men is correct.
Shrek's Men, you are correct. That makes
Wait,
sense.
where was your head going on that?
Well,
one?
I got the Shrek part, but I was like, whatever. Okay, I haven't seen X-Men. Another
It's
one.
okay, me either.
It's
I've
probably
seen
coming back.
I started with X3 just because that was right.
Well,
around.
you know that's not first.
No, but that was I wasn't allowed.
I started with Shrek's 3.
I watched Rocky 4 first. Is that wrong?
I watched Rocky Balboa first. That's definitely wrong.
Oh,
That's
Rocky
the wrong
4 is
order.
a fun one, though. He beats up the Russian guy. Well, the
Creed
Russian
is
guy
really
beats him
good.
up.
Wow.
I still got Shrek on the brain from when we were in Scotland, Kyle. So this is a
Yeah,
good
there was
time.
a Shrek burlesque show there called Swamplesque.
Yeah.
That's hysterical. The
greatest poster you've ever
people
seen.
will bring to.
Apparently, one of the
Fringe
greatest
festival.
shows of the whole festival. Everybody was.
I couldn't
raving
even get
about
tickets to it.
It was sold out practically every night.
Yeah.
I had Kyle on my show one night, and I made fun of Shrek, the burlesque show, and someone from the audience yelled out, "Why would you say that?"
Yeah, they weren't loving. You can't. First, they're very defensive about Shrek in Scotland.
Yeah.
Because he's their only famous person, and
Well, there's that McDonald fella who makes the burgers.
oh yeah, that's actually honestly also Shrek. That's what's crazy over there.
Just Shrek
they're very
in
defensive.
whiteface.
They're also very defensive about Braveheart, despite all hating the movie.
Huh.
They
Yeah.
love that it exists, and then they also, I guess, hate inaccuracies about it, or that it's all people think about when they think about
I
it.
also feel like they probably don't like that Mel Gibson made that. Scotland is a very progressive group of folks out there
Yeah.
in Scotland, so they probably are really not down with Mel Gibson.
That's what happened on your show. Was I
making
brought
their
up Mel
thing.
Gibson, and that's what what do they call it? You're over, like a wrestler that everyone starts to love. I said the worst thing they could do for Braveheart 2 was to make it a movie where they just ask Mel Gibson how he feels about groups of people, and it was like a wrestling pop because they hate
Yeah.
him so
I
much.
hate that man.
And why? No,
Because there's so many Jews in
what
Scotland.
do they have the internet there? Do they have the internet or the news the past 40 years there? Next one, we got 2 left. These are horrible. These ones are difficult and horrible.
Great headspace.
This
to
should
put
fit
memes
right on
in.
my headstone. An adventurous Polynesian teenager sets out on a mission to save her people, during which she meets a demigod who once dressed in drag in an attempt to play in the WNBA.
Moana.
Moana Man.
Moana Man is correct.
Ah!
Wow.
I'm so glad we got there because I started thinking Space Jam and I was like, no, that's not even
that-
close.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm not even going to do the last one. I'm going to give a shout out to a lot of these titles were written by fans of the podcast on our Discord. Thank you, Eternal. Thank you to Occam's Fraser, which is a great name.
That's a great one.
For writing these. I'm not going to try V for Bend It Like Beckham. I'm not even going to try and get to that one, but it's V for Vendetta and Bend It Like Beckham put together.
That's funny.
And so we're going to say the current score is it's 4-4.
Oh, have we been scoring?
I don't know. I just wrote, and then I also just wrote a J down because I usually just write but you're both J.
We're both J.
So we have one more game we're going to play.
Okay.
And then we're going to get here. This game is called Build the Perfect Movie. How it works is I will give you a category. You are competing against one another in this. Okay. You each have to pick 2 movies from that category whose Rotten Tomatoes score add up to as close to 100 as possible.
Oh, nice.
Without going over.
Okay.
So I'll give you a category. You pick your first movie each. I'll tell you the scores, and then you can pick your second movie each. And as close to 100 as possible, critics score without going over.
All right.
An example, if Robin Williams was your category, you could do RV, which is a 24%. Happy Feet is a 76%. There's a perfect movie. I think we have less than 5 perfects ever in the history of the show, and maybe 1,000.
Well, you better get ready for another one.
Another 2.
Our category in honor of the
high.
Goonies. Let's
Okay.
do. We'll do a couple. This will be. I don't know. How'd you like an adventure movie or a movie where there's kids as prominent characters? Will be our first one.
Kids as prominent characters.
Sort of. I don't know how to describe it. Adventure. So you each have to
Yeah.
pick 2. It can be a kid as long as you can tell me either the kid's name or something they did, and in the movie. I'm not going to be too strict about it. And Jen, you'll pick your first movie, and then Jay, you'll pick your first movie, and then we'll recap the scores.
All right, my first movie is going to be a movie called Six Pack. It's an old movie about these kids and Kenny Rogers.
Wow. Yep.
And they are a team of kids that are they're his pit crew. He's a race car driver.
Okay.
It is an awful movie, and
I've
I'm going to
never
get the
even heard of this,
score.
Dude,
I'm going to guess the
incredible
score.
poster. This poster
score
looks
is
like if
very
AI
low.
generated art for a bar. Like
Yeah,
it is incredible.
It's
1982 family comedy, six
There you
pack.
go.
Jay, your first movie?
I'm gonna go. I'm going recent on this one. I'm gonna go. This is one of my favorite movies of the past. I would say probably whatever came out 10-ish years ago, and it also fits the genre. The Kings of Summer.
The Kings of Summer. What
Yeah.
the hell is that about?
It's a movie about this.
some
these-
pretty intelligent film.
No. It's
sounds
pretty.
like-
It's,
Frustrated by their overbearing parents, 3 teenagers carry out a plan to leave their families and build a house in the woods and live off the land.
yeah, it's kids who run away and build a house in the woods.
Oh, okay.
Nick Offerman's
Nick Offerman,
the
Allison
dad.
Brie.
Yeah.
All right. I like them.
It's got a great classic.
One of the kids is named
And you
Blaggio.
so are you,
Biagio.
Oh.
so you are counting on that being a high score.
That's a high score. I know that's a higher score.
So
I
then
think
you're
that's
gonna
somewhere in
try
the
and go,
s- Yeah, I think that's somewhere in the 70s is my guess.
So six
right.
pack is a 45%.
Oh,
I think we might be higher than we thought it was going to be.
that is higher than.
So
I
we're
thought it
looking
was
for a
gonna be.
55% or less
Okay.
out of your second one. The Kings of Summer is a 77%. So
Okay.
you're looking for a 23.
All right.
And Jen, you'll pick first since you have the most to make up. We're looking for a movie with some kids kind of involved. However, that is a 55% on Rotten Tomatoes. Or a kid.
I'm gonna go Mary Poppins,
Which one?
the original.
Oh, gee.
The original Mary Poppins.
Okay.
I haven't seen that new piece of shit, but I'm saying the old Mary
Julie
Poppins.
Andrews.
Yeah, Julie Andrews.
Dick Van
and
Dyke.
Dick Van
How
Dyke.
crazy is it that Dick Van Dyke has a new headshot?
God,
That's nuts.
I'm looking at it right now. This
so
man has a
adorable.
headshot that I would say is less than a year old.
Wow.
God bless him.
Good
He'll be
job.
fine.
Oh, man. Okay. This is
Looking for a 23.
23.
23 in you.
Oh, I am going to a movie with a kid who's like the lead,
or just a part of it.
and it's bad. You know what? I'm gonna go. This is we'll see what happens here. I've got some faith that this is a bad enough movie, and I'm going recent.
I've already typed
again.
Shawshank in. Just tell me the second word.
I'm gonna go Maze Runner: The Scorch Trials. We're going YA adaptation.
It's almost upsetting you knew the tagline.
Because I can't go OG Maze Runner. I got to go with the sequel that is almost certainly going to be worse.
All right, here we go. Six pack, 45%. Mary Poppins, 97%. Way
God.
over.
Killed
Everyone loved Mary Poppins. The Kings of Summer, 77. Maze Runner: The Scorch Trials, 48.
Whoa.
Also good.
Better than I
That's
thought. Wow.
Well, how did can you look up how did the second the Mary Poppins remake?
I bet lower.
I'm gonna
79.
Oh wow.
Is that I don't know, this? Emily Blunt's not going to be happy, but I was like, "Isn't Katy Perry the star of that?" Is literally what I thought
Can you
as I was
imagine Katy
typing
Perry
it in.
doing a horrible,
I can.
worse than
I
Dick Van
can
Dyke
too.
Cockney accent a whole movie?
I can imagine
I
Katy
love
Perry
that.
coming down a chimney.
Oh, listen to that.
All right, we're going to do one more game here. We got to get a winner. This is a spin-off of Build the Perfect Movie. It's called Discrepancy. I now will give you a category. You have to tell me the movie where audience and critics disagreed the most.
Okay.
The biggest discrepancy between audience score and critic score. And in honor of the Goonies, it's a movie that starts with the. What movie
Okay.
that is a the movie? And Jay, you'll go first on this one. We'll switch
Okay.
up. What movie that is a the movie?
Can we get even like what time it's from? What,
Anytime you
is
want to
it,
pick
it's not
it.
an 80s movie.
No, you can pick any movie you
Any
want that starts with the
movie.
that
Oh.
where audiences and critics disagree. Well, I'll look them up and we'll see who.
Oh.
Because if you think like a big one is like Adam Sandler movies,
Right.
I'll say so we can't use him because now I'm using him as. But it's like something like The Water Boy will be like 98% audience and like 14%
The Wedding
critics
Singer,
and things
yeah,
like that. So
similar.
aside from Adam Sandler, a movie that starts with the, he's almost like a cheat code at the discrepancy game.
It's a good.
So
Okay.
Jay, what movie do you think audience and critics disagree the most? And it doesn't matter which way.
Okay. I feel. This is gonna be. I'm thinking M. Night Shyamalan-y kind of stuff. But I don't want to go with something that's I know that critics really hated. I'm gonna go with The Village. Still early enough that people were still high on Shyamalan, even though they're like, this is weird. We're starting to know what's going on.
Bryce Dallas Howard was the little kid in The Village? Great.
She was?
She directed the episode of The Mandalorian I did.
What?
Fantastic.
Incredible. Also, her character's name was Ivy Walker. Come on. Someone who lives in the woods is named Ivy Walker. A kid who walks around the woods. Do you see Tree Runner, her brother? All right, The Village. There we go. All right, Jen, we need a movie that starts with the, where audience and critics really disagreed.
I mean, is the movie The Empire of the Sun? Is that the title of it, or it might just be Empire of the Sun?
It is Empire of the Sun.
Okay. I'm going to say maybe something like The Remains of the Day.
Oh.
Right? Like,
There you go. That could be good.
Okay, The Remains of the Day.
is that what it's called?
Yes.
Okay.
The Village, critics 44%,
Oh,
audience 57%.
dang.
Oh,
So
that's very
13%.
close.
The Remains of the Day, critics 96%, audience 90%.
Whoa.
Come on. That is a
10,000
terrible,
ratings.
boring movie. God.
That's what a lot of the good reviews say. Actually, is pretty similar
We
to
loved
that.
how boring this movie was.
No, I'm just trying to think if there's any like it's hard to come up with the movie when you
Try
need
The
to.
Bad News Bears.
The OG, yeah. The Bad News Bears.
I could see that. There's
Right?
it's a 97 critics, 80 audience. That would have won the game for you.
What about The Maze Runner? The original Maze
Stop
Runner.
bringing up Maze Runner.
What about The Note? No.
I just don't like what
The Notebook.
this is doing to my search history. The Maze Runner is a 65 and a 68. It's very close. This is a fun game you can play. I mean, eventually you start to memorize some of these like I have after searching them so much.
No,
but
I get
The
it.
Notebook is a huge discrepancy.
Really?
54 critics, 85 audience.
Wow. Should have gone with The
Should've gone
Notebook.
said that.
Well, hey, that's it for us here today on Never Seen It. Jen, I just have to thank you again for having never watched The Goonies.
Of course. Thank you. I'll never watch it again. I promise. I guarantee this will be the way it is.
Please tell everyone what you got going on, where to find you.
I am all over the place. I have currently got a special out that just got released called No Flies on Me. You can watch it for free in its entirety at jenkober.com. That way you can vet me, make sure I'm funny, and come out and see my live show. I have a new tour that is going all over the world called One Hick Wonder, and I am about to go have a residency in Las Vegas at their Cirque du Soleil show, Mad Apple. I will be there September 19th through October 22nd. 2 shows a night, 5 nights a week. Come
Amazing.
check it out.
We got people in Vegas. Go see it.
Yeah, go check it out.
Amazing. Jay, thanks for being here, and thanks for having seen The Goonies.
Thanks for having me.
Anything you want to tell people about you got going on in your life?
Yeah, you can find me at Diet J on social media. I also have a monthly game show in Los Angeles called Wrong, a Fucked Up Game Show. Kyle was on the Edinburgh version of that, which is available on YouTube. You can go watch that. But we are monthly at the Comedy Store, first Saturdays at 11:45 p.m. We also tour a little bit, so follow us at Wrong Game Show on social media, and you can see where we're coming next.
Yay.
Thank you so much for listening. Once again, I know we got people in Vegas because people ask me when I'm going to be there. So go see Jen in Vegas. You know what? Go see Jen in Vegas. Send me a picture from there. I'll mail you some podcast merch. We'll do that.
Ooh,
Nice.
Thank you guys for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day.
I've never seen it.